Steve, got to interview you, my friend. Got to interview you, man. Pitchology. Pitchology, we got both of them. We got the Entrepreneurland. Come on over, man. Yeah.
So Roderick comes over to me and he says, I just want to talk to you about one of the chapters in your new book, Once Upon a Time in Entrepreneurland. I said, like, okay, cool. And he's like, oh, it touched my heart in such a big way. It made such a difference for me. It was what I needed, and I didn't know why. I took this book on vacation with me, and it like completely gave me everything I needed.
Did he? Are you allowed to say which chapter?
Chapter 4. Chapter 4. Chapter 4 is a lot of the stories inside this book.
I read it. I love it.
So chapter 4 is a real story. And
I know this one. Is this where the guy steals from him?
Stole a lot of money.
I like that one too.
It's crazy. It's actually one I've gotten probably dozens of compliments on. So they're like,
because as entrepreneurs, we are ashamed if we have a bad thing happen.
Yeah, exactly. We feel out of control, and it's not if, it's when somebody steals from us, and we feel so violated. It's embarrassing.
Yeah,
we
like
feel
guilt. Like, why wasn't I watching the ball?
Shame. We feel shame because we have a tendency to abdicate people. We abdicate responsibilities because we may not know them or we don't want to do them. So it really turns into this conundrum of, we feel really bad about ourselves. Yeah.
So I was telling you on the phone 2 days ago, you're a smart dude. I mean, you really are. You know about things that I don't even know what they mean. But these different types of models in business, I mean, you're clearly an entrepreneur. You tell us a little bit about your background. You've done the UN. Tell us a little bit.
So I've been an entrepreneur since I was 6 years old. That's the earliest documented business I had. And that's where I was selling horse manure, and I've been selling shit ever since, right?
There you go. Yeah.
And so I'd spent my life as an introvert in my shell, and business helped me get out of it. I would be able to simply do a business transaction with somebody, like selling horse manure to them, and then it would give me something to talk to them about. And I think a really great entrepreneur uses their business as a canvas to show the world who they are.
This is deep stuff. I like this.
Well, I think of things for decades, literally decades.
Wow.
And so when I come up with concepts, it's things that I've thought long and hard about and observed. And so the UN allowed me the experience of being able to bring entrepreneurs to learn all about what the UN's doing with the Sustainable Development Goals, which is a 15-year agenda, with a whole bunch of real great research on how we can be impactful as citizens, but also as entrepreneurs. So I did that through EO, and I was the UN ambassador for entrepreneurship globally. We brought hundreds of entrepreneurs, probably thousands at this point. I know thousands for knowledge, but actually physically to the UN. Right before before COVID, we had a whole group there who got to learn all about what the UN's all about. And it's funny because the UN really needs entrepreneurs to step up and use their businesses as their platform because we have so much influence. So it helps me to be purposeful. I love putting purpose in. As entrepreneurs, we define ourselves by the business that we do, the work that we do. And as such, first you struggle. And what's the most important thing? Money, right? Then what's the next most important thing is to be able to be sure that now that you got yourself covered, how those people who help us so much, nobody works for me, they work with me, right? And how can we make sure that their jobs are secure, keep this engine going? And then it turns into more. Yeah. It turns into how can we use our business to align with our values and then be a gift to the world? And that's the evolution that I love to see people go through.
So good.
Zombies are what I call people who have sold their business and lost their
Soul,
basically their
purpose,
soul.
yeah.
So you know about this. I call it the entrepreneurial triangle,
Yeah.
right? So 3 sides of a triangle. First side being drive, and second side being free will, and the other aspect of our personality is risk. Those are the 3 things that we need. And if you got them in even sides, we call that an equilateral triangle, and that's cool.
Yeah.
But the moment it turns into, let's say, a hypotenuse and the risk is way out on the spectrum, we can do bad stuff, really bad stuff. So understanding ourselves is one of the reasons I love the book,
So good.
because it makes us feel and understand what it is. When you write a book, you have to go through feelings and also codify or bring your concepts so they're explainable to the world. So I want to be a gift to the world. I want students.
Yeah.
So you got 14 fables. Fables you're used to, right? So this is the 3 Little Pigs. I got Big Bad Wolf or BB Wolf, 3 Little Pigs, and I've got the owl, Dean the owl, and all of these things.
Characters.
Yeah, they're characters. But what happens is your bullshit meter goes down when I say this is a fable. You're no longer a critic, right? So you're not a critic anymore, and now you put yourself in the story. You start to paint a picture.
I saw it. I saw when the young man gets stolen from. I was like, oh man, I could see my past, and it was a little bit of healing.
Yeah, and that was the part. It was healing for me too, because it did happen to me. Best friend went, and I find out, did all these things, justified the heck out of it, and it's something that nobody talks about because we feel so vulnerable.
Wow. Well, listen, you have some great websites, and what are those? You have a podcast.
So we have pitchology.ai. Instead of .com, it's .ai. And Pitchology, this is part of the Pitchology series. My first book is Pitchology, The Art and Science of Raising Capital for Entrepreneurs. And that's
super savvy.
And it teaches about 18 ways for you to be able to raise capital, because entrepreneurs know one way of raising capital, and it's the way that came and approached them to buy their business, whether it's private equity or a venture capital fund or a SPAC or whatever it might be. And I actually do this to be a hero to my fellow entrepreneurs so they don't get taken advantage of.
So pitchology.ai.
Pitchology.ai, you'll see this book. It's part of a series, and Pitchology, The Art and Science of Raising Capital. And you'll find many of the interviews, because my books are made to be interactive through QR codes. So you'll get a YouTube video and a podcast, whichever way you like to learn. That's the way we built it. So I'm really excited. And thanks to EasyIP, EasyIP, it helped me to register on the blockchain a lot of these concepts so nobody steals them.
Yes.
So thank you for that. Very cool.
Steve is one of our biggest users of EasyIP and promoters, and we just appreciate you. But I love what you're doing. You're a gift to the world. And let's close with this. I only know you as a buff dude. I had people coming up to me being like, what's up with Steve? He lost 40 pounds. What's up with that?
You know what? I decided I'm living to at least 120. We called it 125, thrive to 125. And when we got asked the question in Strategic Coach, which we share together, they said, how long are you going to live? I was like, well, things are going pretty damn good. And so I put in my year. I said 95. And they said, what are you going to have to do to add some years? And I said, well, shoot, I'm going to have to lose some weight and get myself even, because I had muscle, but it was all behind that, Stay Puft marshmallow fat, So I worked on that, increased my sleep tremendously. I monitor sleep big time and my nutrition. So
proud of you, man.
Thank you.
Hey, you are a gift to me, and you've inspired me, and this is a fantastic book.
Let's get this book out to every university out there. Students, I think you said this, right? People wanted to aspire to be rock stars, athletes in the past, right?
Yeah.
Well, you say it best.
I say in the past, people wanted to be athletes and rock stars. Today, everyone wants to be even an entrepreneur. Even the athletes and rock stars want to be entrepreneurs now.
That's right. And I was sitting with Lance Armstrong and
That's
Danica
right.
Patrick. And I said, you know what? I figured out the difference between you and me. They said, what? I said, you peaked already.
You peaked early.
You peaked early, and you're spending your life chasing it, and you're using entrepreneurship as your vehicle. But the reality is, we don't have that problem. Our lives, we have a mantra, which is the best is yet to come. And I love that.
That's good, man. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Appreciate you. Get that book. All right.